Listeners and subscribers, hope all is well. You know, I've been thinking lately with this whole fake news motif constantly being touted, by President Donald Trump and others in, mainstream and alternative media. The fake news motif, let's not forget why it was created. It was created to combat alternative narratives, the alternative media. Okay, the fake news motif was built to fight us. So when we see this whole Jussie Smollett thing, right? And we'll touch on that briefly. When we see this whole Jussie Smollett thing, coming out, uh, mainstream media jumped on it, and as soon as people caught wind of it, it was like this racial thing, this homophobic thing. Everybody jumped on, the bandwagon to demonize these supposed Trump supporters, right? These MAGA hat wearing Trump supporters. And, the media was so fast to cover this, and it covered, all of the audience that this mainstream media covers. It's a vast audience. But what they weren't quick to cover was when this story started to fall apart, right? When the Chicago Police Department was doing their due diligence, and then the alternative media in return started doing their due diligence and started straightening out some of the quirks, right? Some of the inaccuracies in this narrative that was evolving and pointing just absolutely putting holes in Mr. Smollett's story, okay? And this this narrative that evolved here, as quick as the media was to jump on it, they weren't very quick to try and report the shortcomings of what they reported initially. Okay, so it was the alternative media that, in this instance, influenced the mainstream media to finally get out there and start putting out the facts. Okay, and this is just one instance of a small win that goes to show what inoculating people against this propaganda and against these initiatives and agenda, what it can do. And that being said, I want to express some concern. Moving on away from that, and it'll come up again briefly, but I'm concerned about the precedent that's being set over this, national emergency, right? We've already heard the whispers of national emergency declarations over healthcare and guns by the or others of the ilk, by the opposing side. And there are those saying, well, if Dems are going to call for something in line of, a gun grab, just say when, right? But aren't we playing into their hands? Wouldn't they like nothing more? By they, I mean, the powers that shouldn't be, the low people in high places. Wouldn't they like, nothing more than to have the people fighting each other in a way that would require some level of government intervention? What do you think the push for this civil war has been about? There's this perfect storm brewing, right? The left versus right, race against race, the haves versus have-nots, escalating religious conflict, the static gender versus the gender fluids, and that's just scratching the surface. That's just surface level. We're really talking about the divide and conquer, and I think that's really what the whole Jussie Smollett narrative played right into, this push for divide, right? The debate around the wall is another one. And we should be concerned over these unorthodox solutions becoming commonplace. When people become desensitized to something, it has a higher chance of being normalized. But besides these agent provocateurs and bad actors throwing fuel on the race war fire, politicians are doing what they do best and fanning the flames of the ever-burning political dumpster fire, right? Because eventually things will come to a head. But I think this wall issue is multifaceted. I think something else may be going on with all the missile testing, false emergency alerts, the presidential alert, covert military drills, and the speculation of some coming coup d'etat or martial law type scenario, right? I've covered that. We could be seeing preparation of some sort, some kind of continuity of government, something like Rex 84. I think I have my topic for the next video. But I think that's really what we're seeing here. And we've talked about some of these things with the coup d'etat and potential martial law type scenario. I've covered a video on that, and I'll leave a link in the description as well as one of those video cards at the end. But the covert military drills like the unconventional warfare exercise 16, Jade Helm 15, if the government's preparing for something, shouldn't the people be prepared for something? And I think with that, I'll leave it there, and I'm going to go ahead and and do a brief video on Rex 84, right? Readiness Exercise 84, which was a classified scenario. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into that. California Carter, signing off.